What's up, folks? What's up, Shane? Good morning to you. Let's see here. Kind of building a little track idea to practice around too. Not quite satisfied with that bass line yet, so I'll just keep playing around with it until I find something I'm good, comfortable with. All right, let's see. All right, let's see how that felt. In the context with everything. All right, so see some people speaking. Good morning to everybody. Christoph, what's up, man? Yes, sir. Philippines is in here. Shane, can you have a gospel lesson right now? Not necessarily a lesson, man. Not sure what you're looking for in terms of gospel lesson. Generally, grooves and motivation is not necessarily a lesson. When I come on here Tuesday mornings, it's not necessarily a lesson. It's more grooves and motivation speaking. Every now and again, I'll share some concepts, but not necessarily much of a lesson on Tuesday morning. I do have other lessons. I'm not sure if you're new to my channel, but I do have other lessons all throughout the channel that cover a great deal of topics. All right. So Vic, what's up, man? Fleece, good morning to you. Andrew, I see you. Good morning, man. Let's see here. All right. And I also want to make mention, Shane, if you're not familiar with me or my channel, I do have a site, JermaineMorgan.net, where I have tons of courses. I say tons of courses. There's a lot of material that I talk about gospel extensively. I deal with congregational songs course where I deal with some traditional, learning some traditional stuff as it relates to gospel. And I have a course that talks about shout, like the shout bump bass course, where you can learn different variations to playing shout music. That's available as well on my website, as well as the monthly membership lessons, while I kind of dig into some of those gospel elements, gospel concepts there. So those are some other resources that you can kind of look to find out a little bit more about the gospel stuff if you're interested in more of that stuff as well. All right. Draka, is that how you say that? Should I play when I want to be a church-based player? If you want to be church, you should learn to play definitely gospel, anything in that Christian field, gospel, contemporary Christian, all that stuff. Modern gospel, traditional gospel, the new age stuff. I mean, it's so many subgenres anything you can find to get your hands on that's gospel or Christian related, I would learn it. And I would learn funk as well as being versed. And when it comes to church and playing in, depending on the environment that you land in, being well versed is a plus. So being able to play a little jazz, being able to play a little funk, being able to play blues. I mean, just being really, really well versed because gospel it covers a lot of subgenres. So even playing pop music, hip hop, being able to play CCM, a lot of stuff is required as a gospel musician. So I think that's why most of your gospel players seem to be so well rounded. They might not be, when I say jazz, they might not be the deepest fusion head on the planet, but they at least have a understanding of the music enough to play the song. They might, what I mean, a fusion head, they might not be able to solo all over the song the whole time, going through all the chord changes, but they have an understanding of the foundational parts of the song. So, yeah, I would say if you're trying to get into playing in church or playing in gospel in general, being more specific, playing in a majority black church, you need to be very well versed in a lot of different styles because you're subject to play anything. All right, what's going on, Parker? Let's see here. Let me go back up. I missed some comments here. South Africa in the building this morning. What's going on, Stephen? Charles, I see you, man. All is well with me. I see you're doing bass lines from my neck of the woods. I live in New York. I'm originally from Jamaica. Yes, sir. Just playing around with some ideas, man. I just had this in my head. I try not to be too location specific. I just go with what I hear. In which U.S. region are you living? I'm near Atlanta. I'm close to the Atlanta area. Let's see who else. Loic, good morning to you. No problem. No problem. Let me build this out a little bit more. Try to throw a little reverb on here. See if that wakes it up. Might be too much. We'll see. Let's throw it in here. We almost got it. Get it again. I heard another chord. Alright, I heard another chord. I had to go with it, so. Alright, cool. Okay, alright. You see how it goes. Okay, we're just building. I have no idea where this is going. We're just building right now. All right, that's the fun part. When you don't know where it's going, you just kind of let it go where it goes. Let's see. I'm gonna take the reverb off. I'm gonna let it breathe for the first let's see what we can get. Try it again. I'm gonna stack that just to double it up a little bit, thicken it out. Bum, bum. All right, we just stacked that. Let's do it again. I might want to put a little harmony to it. Let's try that. Again, I have no idea where this is going, guys. Let's do another one. Almost. Okay, I'll rock with that. It's not perfect, but the feel is there. Sometimes feel over perfection. Cool. Just goofing around anyway, so we're just having fun. I missed some of your comments as well. Let's see here. Music for Jesus, good morning to you. Nicole, good morning. Remember, Nukeri, is that how you say it? Thank you. Looks like it's easy to play today. Yeah, I've been goofing around for a minute. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's fun. I will say it's fun. Good morning, Tiffany Parker. Morning to you. Well, you already spoke. You said I got the African jazz feel. It got an African jazz feel to it, like it's all the way from Zanzi. Is that how you say that? Charles, or whatever this is, turning into it feels pretty good. Appreciate that, man. So let's see what we have with this. Let's gain that up just a bit in the mix. All right, we're just playing around. This is in the key of A flat, by the way. If you want to jam along with me, I don't know if you have your good deal. I know I'll be butchering names on here early in the morning. Koala Bear, good morning to you. Afternoon to you, wherever you are. All right. say the most important thing in this is trying to capture the right feel. Somebody commented, I'm glancing at the comments as I'm playing. Somebody commented, can you slap on that? Yeah, you can. It's just making sure you don't lose the feel. Because songs like this, feel is everything. Almost over the notes you're playing. The feel, like if you lose that feel, because when people are hearing this, they want to move, they want to dance. So if you start doing goofy stuff that makes the feel die down, it's like, yeah, you're taking away from the song. So you want to make sure you maintain that feel, and it's just this kind of, I don't know what to label this as because I don't want to call it the wrong thing. And somebody from a particular environment is like, no, that's not what we do. You know, I don't want to do that. So you know the vibe, you hear what it is. But the feel is the most important thing out of everything, making sure that it feels right so people kind of can enjoy the song. Seems tricky to slap without losing the feel of it. I mean, it was kind of like, you kind of got to be aware of what you're doing. It can be tricky, but you know, you just kind of got to be aware and not to overdo it. Like I said, I just did it on the spot. All right, so amazing, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause to Jermaine Morgan, incredible solo. I was just goofing off, man. So just having fun. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it. Somebody said them fingers was woke this morning. You truly on fire, man. To God be the glory. Thank y'all. Mike Randolph says from New Jersey, I hear you adding harmony. Is it safe to say that you play a different mode of the scale, getting that harmony? Or is that another role? No, not necessarily a different mode. It's just, I mean, just following harmony of the chord, like just regular major scale. Like that whole melody is built off that major scale. And I'm just harmonizing that. It's like somebody said harmonics would be pretty. Yeah, you can get away with harmonics in there. So no, it's not necessarily something, a different type of scale or anything that I'm playing. It's mostly everything, as I say. The biggest thing I push on here, not that I only play with the major scale and the major pentatonics. I do stretch out beyond that, but sometimes like in this particular, these lessons, because I'm aware of who's listening, I try to play stuff that the average player can play, if that makes any sense. If you hear my records, you hear me stretching out a little bit more and kind of getting into some other stuff. But when it comes to these lessons and playing for you guys, I try to play things, even when I'm soloing, I try to play things that you can go back and listen to this video and pick out what I'm playing, and you can do it as well. So I try not to go too far left. I'm aware that everybody's not on the same level. Some people are very advanced, and it's like, man, that little stuff you played, I can play that in my sleep. So that's cool. But for some of you guys, that's not the case. And so I have to kind of find a good median or a good middle ground for everybody to make sure that I'm not kind of going too far left and leaving anybody. So I want you to be able to be inspired and, you know, try some of this stuff that I'm doing. Good idea to have a backing track. Yep. Kamar, good morning to you. Barbados in the house. I feel the new backing track is coming from this. So y'all want that backing track, I see. Full soca vibe. So let's try this little, to be honest, I probably wouldn't slap on something, going back to that comment, I probably wouldn't slap on something like this. So it's probably why when I did go to it, I kind of hesitated, because I was trying to play and not lose the groove and think at the same time, what would I do over this, you know? So I just try to keep a really, really simple pattern for the most part. it's so funny. It's like you don't get credit for thumping or slapping, however you want to call it. You don't get credit unless you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that's busy. And the fact of the matter is, that's not required for most songs. It's not. It's literally I could get away with. Now, if I want to add little subdivisions and stuff in there to kind of fill it up a little bit, I can do that. But just getting a whole bunch of all of that's really not necessary for this song. It's just something extra you want to do if you decide to do it. But the basic bare meat and potatoes, simple. Level of that you heard me add was like I'm keeping a groove, bump, tap a bump, bump, tap a bump, bump, tap a bump, bump, tap a bump, bump. Like that's the whole groove that I'm keeping, and the other stuff is just other grooving parts around it. With that if I wanted to. So that it's really simple. So to go back and reiterate that, it's not really complicated if you wanted to do thump or picking as far as your finger picking. It's just a matter of what you're trying to play. When you start trying to do too much, that's honestly when it gets complicated, when you're trying to do too much. But just keeping the groove of the song, once you lock in what and where that groove is, that part is simple. Just stay and lock there and make sure everything else locks around that. Making sure you capture the feel. And as I said on 1,000 lessons, probably, the feel, you're listening to everything else that's going on around the groove. So I'm listening to like the drums, even though it's playing a different pattern, it's kind of showing me with the percussion and everything, kind of where I need to fall. And I'm kind of playing off of that melody rhythm. Ba 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 bum bum ba da ba 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 ba. It's like on the backbeat. Floyd, what's up, man? The day is going pretty well. I'm about them backing tracks. Yes, sir. Yes, not Portrait of Tracy level harmonics. Not quite Portrait of Tracy. She said, I'm trying to think about what you were saying with the harmonics. How would you like just rhythmic harmonics? Since you got me thinking about harmonics now, let's try something. Let's see here. that in there. That's something different. I can get it every now and again, get those harmonics when I'm kind of moving around. That's not my specialty. But anywho, I do that in my own private time. It's got a cool little feel to it. Let's see, and it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I will say that. So it really matters how you implement them in there, because you might be hearing something completely different that I'm not hearing. And that's the beautiful thing about music. We all have a perspective. We all have a way that we hear it. So that's cool. All right. So let's see here. Charles, the metronome. Hold on. Let me go back here. Richard Bonner playing this kind of groove, probably play only one note. Yeah, I mean, everybody will approach it. Dude, I was thinking, the metronome thing got me. You know, I was listening to that metronome when I was playing, and I was going to turn it off, and I was like, man, the metronome is kind of right there in the groove, so I'm kind of feeling the metronome right now. Brother, how is your right hand technique? Let me see. Let me go back. Yeah, periodically at the end of a few bars, and let it ring out. Yeah, I got what you're saying. Music for Jesus. All right. So Marcelo says, brother, how is your right hand technique? Depends on what you're referring to. Like just playing the song is pretty straightforward. Right now you see my arm is really relaxed just simply because I'm sitting down, but if I'm standing up, as you can see in this silhouette, my bass is generally angled up if I'm standing up, so my arm is kind of pretty straight for the most part. When I'm playing out live, I normally play. I just don't like playing, I don't like holding the bass like this when I'm sitting down. It's only cool. I only like doing it when I'm standing up because my arms are in a naturally relaxed. They're in a naturally relaxed position, and this is how I normally play when I'm standing. So. So that's pretty much my right hand position. If I'm doing other things like more muting, it's more like this. Let me just demonstrate with the groove, it'll be easier. All right, hold on just a second. Here we go. So, let's see here. Sometimes strings sound in the air. I'm not sure what you mean. All right, so y'all seem to be feeling this backing track. I might upload this. If y'all really feeling it. Last time I did a different kind of vibe backing track, I didn't get a great response from it. So that's what I'm like, I'll just save these for myself. I'm not sure if they feeling these. So enough thumbs up and enough responses on this video, even after the fact, I'll upload this backing track. But other than that, it's like, I might save it for my own practice. What's up, T? Good morning to you. All right, so jumping into our little discussion before we run out of time here. Yes, uploaded. So, like the discussion this morning, are you setting goals? Are you setting goals? What is your goal? We have roughly the end of this month, November, December. 2.5, roughly less than 2.5 months left in this year. How will you finish? How will you finish this year? How will you finish this year? Will you finish strong? What is your goals? You know me, if you've been around for a while, and if this is your first time, you guys got to remind me that's been around. Address the new people who are just tuning in for the first time. This is Grooves and Motivation Live. I'm Jermaine Morgan. If you're new to this channel, I'm happy that you're here. Do me a favor and go ahead and press the subscribe button if you like what you've seen, what you've heard so far. And do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up and like this video so more people can see it, can be found, and YouTube know that you guys are actually enjoying the content that I'm putting out. That way they don't hide my channel. I get comments all the time. People say, man, more people should be seeing your channel. I'm like, I agree. More people should see this channel, but I have absolutely no control over that. It's all about you guys letting the algorithm know that you actually enjoy the content. That's what makes the difference in people being able to see what I'm putting out. More people like you being able to get these resources and finding out about them and that kind of thing. So it's on you. It's really not on me. I just keep creating content, but it's on y'all to get this channel out and to let people know more about it. But yeah, this is Grooves and Motivation Live. I am a music professional. I've been playing for about a long time. I've been a music professional for over 15 years. I've worked, I'm not going to name off my little resume because that's neither here nor there, but I do this for a living. This is all I do. Majority of everything I do centers around this bass, and from educating online to having bass lessons and bass courses on my website, teaching bass players, coaching. I offer coaching on my website as well as a session player, recording for multiple artists and recording in the studio with guitar and bass. I also speak and also write and produce music for different artists as well. So just to give you a quick introduction about me, just in case you don't have a clue who I am from a hole in the wall, that's a little about me. You want to find out more about me, you can go to JermaineMorgan.net and go to About Me. And you can learn more about me, the artist, the speaker, the husband, all that different stuff. So yeah, but the talk I wanted to do, how is that related to what I'm talking about right now? Because I had to start setting goals in order to be able to do this and have music to be my full-time thing, especially in this climate. My goodness. Boy, 2020 has been a year. I'm not going to say it's been a bad year, because in some instances it's been really, really good. I'm not complaining. But it's been an interesting year, to say the least. And I know for some of y'all, you're going to go ahead and say it's been bad. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to declare my year bad. It might be an interesting or a learning year, but it's not a bad year. And I don't think there's a day, I don't think there's a minute that's bad. The minute it's bad is probably when you check out of here and you're not here no more. It depends on perspective as it relates to that. That could be better for some people. But you know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm grateful for each opportunity. And don't get me wrong, I'm not just airheaded where I'm, oh man, this is so fun, I'm going through bad stuff. No, after I'm able to step back and look at the process and look at what I went through or what I gained from what happened or what has taken place and, how I was able to grow from it, it's like, okay, I can appreciate that. Because truth be told, we grow from the negative experiences a little more than we do from the positive experiences. Positive experiences are good for the moment. They help you to be happy in that moment, but it's very rare that you learn a lot from that positive experience. Now, I'm not saying you don't learn. Depending on what it is, you could learn a lot in a positive experience, but something about those negative experiences and the life lessons that come along with them, you learn to appreciate the things you go through. That don't mean you signing up to go through some junk. I didn't sign up for 2020, just FYI. So y'all know, I didn't sign up for none of this, but here it is, and we're dealing with it. So now, how are we going to set goals to get through the rest of this year to make sure we finish this year strong? What are your goals? What are you doing to set yourself up for success finishing this year out, as opposed to, man, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm just going to hold on? Like, no, you got to do more than hold on. You better figure something out. Because if the right storm comes through, it's curtain calls for you. If you're not thinking ahead and trying to get ahead of the curve and actually having some type of plan of action, you might want to think about doing that. So let's talk about some ways that we can set goals. And if some of you got some stuff that you don't mind sharing in the comment section, some things that you're already doing, you can simply say, I've already set goals. If you're, I don't want to treat it as if nobody has set goals. So if you're a person that's already set some goals, how you want to finish the year out, just type in the comments, I've set some goals. And that's cool. And I think that's great that you have a trajectory in terms of where you want to go. Like you have an actual goal. This is where I'm headed. This is like, I want to land here by the end of the year, so that can set me up for 2021. Now, here's another thing. I talked about this one time before. It's an idea that I took from a book I read from Dean Graziosi, Millionaire Success Habits. This book was talking about jumping forward 1 year. Steven said he's already set some goals. Good deal. So he was talking about jumping forward, like fast forwarding 1 year. So we'll say October 2021. And writing out everything, literally do this when you have time. And I got to do it again. I normally do it for each year. And I got some goals. I already got some things written down, so it ain't like I don't have some of them. I need to get a little bit more detailed on some other parts of my vision for 2021 this time next year. If I'm here, God allows me to see 2021. Where I see myself at, literally write it down. Where do you see yourself at in your playing? 2021 October. Where do you see yourself at if venues are open back up and as musicians were able to perform again? What do you see yourself doing? Who do you see yourself playing for? That kind of thing. So let me read it. Charles says, you're in promotion on the job. All right, I'm gonna read that. Go from a rookie and an intermediate on this base. Yes, sir. Appreciate the small things. That's good. Appreciate the small things daily. And I won't read everybody's, but if you want to post them, I'll acknowledge you, and I acknowledge that I see your goals, and that's good. It's just putting them out there, just so they can be in the air, so they can be seen. It's you got a definite set of goals, you got a definite plan of action, and we're gonna talk about that plan of action thing. But having that goal set, like where do you want to be, and who do you see yourself playing for? If that's a desire of yours, what do you? In terms of opening your business, some of you guys teach as well. I know Christoph, you better be teaching all the stuff you be talking about on the lives. You better be somewhere in France teaching bass lessons or something, teaching music, because you have way too much information. But I'm picking on you. But so you guys that are out there, never, and I would say this, never dumb down your ability to somebody else who you think might be able to do it better than you. Because some of you guys know more information technically than I know. You know the information. Good morning. France is in the house still. Scarabi. So you guys know the information, so you should be sharing this information. If you have a gift to explain, I'll say that. If you have a gift to explain theory and to help people understand music theory, maybe that's something you should pursue. Not necessarily getting a degree or anything like that. And if that's something you want to do, by all means. But some of you guys just get it. You just understand theory in a way that you know how to explain it and make it plain for people. And that might be something that you should look into pursuing. So just thinking about that. By 2021, I'm going to be teaching music theory to neighborhood kids or something, whatever. 2021, I meant. And so whatever those goals are, you list all those goals down. It can be 10 big goals, it could be 100 small goals, or it could be 50 in between, big and small goals. But what you want to do after listing all of these goals down, hopefully some of you guys are writing, after listing all of these goals down, you want to now start to reverse engineer. Reverse engineer all these things that you said, and now start looking at ways that you can get yourself to these goals. Because this is a bass channel, we can kind of hone in on the bass playing part of it. So as a bass player, if I plan to go from intermediate to advanced by 2021, so what are the steps I need to take in that area to raise my level of what I'm doing in terms of playing? I talk heavily, and if you're in the monthly membership lessons, we've started this new series where we're talking about transcribing, like really digging into transcribing. I actually transcribed 2 of my songs on the last 2 lessons. If you're current on the lessons, if not, you'll get to it. You'll see them soon. But we're talking about transcribing, and one of the takeaways from transcribing is it helps you to grow. It really, really helps you to speed up the process because you're making yourself listen to things that you wouldn't normally or naturally listen to as a bass player. Some people don't normally and naturally listen to it. And so you're forcing yourself to kind of speed up, advance. You're playing a little faster because you could come on YouTube, take all of these lessons from this player, this instructor, and all these different people, and you have a lot of different concepts. But the beautiful thing that I've been teaching about being able to transcribe or listen, for some people don't, layman's terms, listen and learn it, like verbatim. That's basically transcribing, or some of you guys literally write it down. You write the note for note. But some of you guys that only play by ear, it's just listening verbatim and learning everything that's going on in that record and being able to do it in detail. That's what we're trying to do when it comes to transcribe. Be able to do that. When you're transcribing, it gives you context as well as what it is they're playing. The only thing you're not getting when you're transcribing, you're not getting what this stuff is called, but you're getting what it sounds like. You're getting the context of how it's being used, and you're getting multiple variations of these different things. You're getting the player's perspective on how they would use it in a certain groove, in a certain solo, or this kind of thing. So you're learning a lot of stuff when you're transcribing. So I believe just the act of transcribing, if you're doing right now as an intermediate, if you're up to like 4 songs a week or something like that, just say for instance, you're learning 4 songs a week, kick it up. Add another wood to the fire. All right, so bump that up. If you're learning 4 songs a week, which is pretty decent, bump it up 6 songs a week. Don't you know if you were doing that for 3 months straight, how further along you would be as a player? Just by default, just by learning other people's stuff and applying it to what you're doing. Learning those songs, it might seem mundane, it might seem redundant to you. And like, man, this ain't doing nothing. But just in 3 months' time, and I challenge my students to do this all the time, record yourself playing. Like if you start today in October, record yourself playing what you sound like today in October. You don't have to do it every single week because you might not be able to hear it as good if you're doing it every week. But I challenge you in October, record yourself. In November, towards the end of middle end of November, record yourself again. December, record yourself. January, record yourself. You know what I'm saying? February, record yourself. And so by May or March or whatever, listen back to how you sounded. If you've been doing that, if you've been transcribing songs consistently, even if you're at a beginner level and it's taking you 2 weeks to learn a song, kick it up. Add another song, add another wood to the fire. But here's the thing, be consistent. Now I'm talking about bass playing, but if you don't play bass, apply this to your area. Whatever it is you're doing, kick it up a notch. Add another wood to the fire. Stretch yourself. Challenge yourself. It's like, man, it's hard for me to learn this one song. All right, well, add another song to it. Like, wait, I just said it's hard for me to learn this one song. I understand. Now add another song while you're learning that song. Because what you're doing, you're stretching your brain, you're stretching your ability, and you don't know what you can accomplish until you start pushing the boundaries of what you're used to. The only way you grow when you're lifting weights, the only way you get stronger, you have to add more weight to it. It's good to sit there and do the reps with a decent set of weight on there, but you get stronger and you get bigger when you start adding more weight or doing more reps. You know what I'm saying? So that act of doing more and pushing yourself and pushing that boundary for yourself, that's how you reverse engineer this thing. So by 2021, and I'm telling you, once you start reverse engineering this thing, by 2021 October, most of the time in my own personal life, when I'm strategic about how I'm reverse engineering this thing and how I'm trying to accomplish this, I most of the time exceed my own expectation of where I saw myself. Because something just happens when you put forth effort and when you put forth the right amount of energy and the right amount of laser focus in an area, it seems like you just get help at some point along the way where it just supernaturally puts you in further along than you thought you would be. It's like, man, I thought I would, be here, but man, I'm actually here. I wasn't even thinking I was going to be doing this. And that's the way it works in almost any situation. It just comes out of nowhere. Now, that's not to say it's going to happen in a year's time for everybody just like that. But over time, if you're consistent, putting the energy in every single time, you're going to see the results over time. So let me respond to a few of these comments so I don't get stuck here at the end going through 10, 15 minutes worth of comments. All right, so let's go back. All right, Andrew says, I'm enjoying the feel of the music. Nice. It has an authentic Caribbean feel to it. I appreciate that, Andrew. You could try steel drum sound too. Yeah, that would sound good, and I definitely steel drums. I love steel drums, especially on that type of stuff. Techniques are good, but trying new sounds make playing bass interesting. Yeah, I mean, whatever works. Does someone use effects here? I definitely use effects, Scarabi. So yeah, definitely trying all that stuff, experimenting with new and make that part of your goals. Like I want to be more creative. Some people they don't get no kick out of playing. I know that's terrible English, but they don't get a kick out of playing with sounds and effects. Some people like this. That's not real bass playing. So it really matters the person. I can go either way. I can play with effects. I can play without effects. Most of the time, if I'm playing live and I'm just only playing the bass, I don't play effects. But if I'm doing more solo-driven stuff, then I would love to have some effects stuff. And so it really matters the player when it comes to that type of stuff. So yeah. Let's see here. Let me go back. Marcelo, sorry, I do not speak English. Wanted to know how to avoid the sound of open strings. Oh, that's what you were saying earlier. Just kind of pay attention to what your left hand is doing when you're playing. The other thing, if you're playing on the higher register, you're doing more solo stuff. Groove Gear, a company that I endorse, I'm an artist with this company. They produced this thing probably about 10, 15 years ago. Well, it ain't been 15 years. It's been at least 10 years. They produced this fret wrap. It's basically a professional version of the hair scrunchie that you used to see on Victor Wooten's bass. Victor Wooten and all of those guys that used to use like the hair tie on the headstock of their bass. But this is a actual product kind of taken from that concept. And this will help you in that area. And also just kind of having a floating left hand, letting some of your fingers float over the notes that you don't want to play and being really aware of what your right hand is doing when you're playing. I can sometimes rest my right hand on strings that I'm not playing and my left hand tends to kind of float over the strings that I don't want to ring. It's become a natural thing for me now. So those open strings, it really comes down to being really centered about what it is you're trying to do in your practice time as you're working through your exercises and working on speed, because that's when it comes into play. The faster you get, for most people, that's when those strings start to ring, and that might be an indication that you're kind of not really paying attention to what your hand is doing as a whole. If you're just like, my thing is like my finger is resting on this top string. It's a bad habit that I have. But as I'm going through the strings, I'm paying attention to like what notes are being touched, and my fingers naturally, for me, this is me personally, my fingers kind of naturally start muting strings as I'm going up and down the fretboard. Now, the bigger the neck of the bass, it's a little harder to do it. I find for me, it's a little harder to do it on my six string basses when I'm playing, when I'm playing faster stuff. It's a little harder to mute the strings, but when I'm aware of it, I try to make the adjustment quickly. So being aware, I would say that's how you can kind of, that's how you can kind of start to fix that a little bit. Let's see here. Love the run. Love the run from the flat seven down to the five. That's what's up, man. I don't know, Andrew. I'm not sure what you're referring. I don't know if you're watching if it's rebroadcasting later or something like that. Maybe I did something earlier, but I have no idea at this point what what you're talking about. Sorry about that. All right. So Anthony Robbins says, as a bass player, I stay hungry to learn more. There's so much of our craft to learn. It seems the more I'm exposed to, the more I want to learn. I just can't get enough. So I stay hungry. I love it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you gotta stay hungry for this thing, because it can get frustrating at times, and you're like, man, I'm done with this. Like I'm moving on moving on to something else, and we don't want those feelings and those thoughts to come in. So I want to say this, Joshua. Uh, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I know it's Martinez. When you first started to play bass, how many hours did you practice a day? Uh-oh. So so for me, when I first started playing, truth be told, I wasn't practicing bass like most people do now, in terms of I'm spending, 5 hours today playing the bass. I come from a musical family. My mom plays bass. My brother plays bass, and I was mostly a guitar player. And so my family, my mom played bass and keyboards or piano. And my brother played bass, drums, keyboard, and guitar as well. So we were just kind of moving around. So to jump on an instrument and just start trying to figure stuff out was natural in the environment that I grew up in. So it wasn't like because some of you guys don't know, but I do play all of this stuff in here, I play it. So being able to sit down and figure it out, it was just a normal thing. We wasn't thinking. I didn't come from a really put it like this. I didn't come from a really structured environment. So hence my teaching style. My environment that I grew up in was not really structured and formatted. Like, you have to learn your theory, and you. From where I'm from, it's like we didn't even know anything about music theory. We didn't know music theory existed. When I started playing for the first critical 4 or 5 years of my life, I knew nothing about like music theory in terms of that term. I didn't learn about music theory. And then get this, I was in band. When I started playing guitar around the age of 12, I was simultaneously learning tuba. I was learning tuba, so I was learning to play in a band and read music, but those musical terms wasn't thrown around like that. Where I was at, you was learning the music, you learning the little basic stuff that you was learning. And, I was doing more memorizing the music than I was actually reading the music at the time. And so it wasn't very, very structured for me in terms of my learning, because I had more time in an unstructured environment than I did in a structured environment. What I mean by that, when I did band, that was like an hour a day, off and on throughout the year, versus always being surrounded by my family that played music their way. We learned music, we played together, and we were just all figuring it out together, because me and my brother, he was playing piano, but by the time he started learning bass, he and I was learning stuff around the same time. So we were just figuring it out as we went along. I'm sorry for the long answer to your question, but I'm just trying to explain it in a way that it makes sense. So we were learning it as we went. So there wasn't a really big structured thing. I didn't really learn a structured practice routine until I started going to college, and actually when I came to Atlanta, and that was in 2006. But by that time, I had already been playing at least 10 years, probably. I had already been playing almost 10 years or more. And so I had to learn structure after I've already really learned how to play. So as it relates to the bass and the guitar, bass was always something that was on the back burner for me that I could just do in terms of, and when I say I could just do, I wasn't playing, I wasn't doing all of that. I was playing like real simple stuff like that. I was playing on bass because I could play enough to write and produce music. But as the years progressed, I started getting better on bass. As I got to college, I started meeting different people that inspired me. Started hearing about Victor Wooten and those guys, the bass extreme people. So I started really taking the instrument seriously because the culture where I was from, this instrument wasn't taken very seriously. We heard it in blues, we heard it in gospel quartet. I didn't really listen to a lot of gospel choir music growing up. I heard the hit people like John P. Key and Fred Hammond and those people, but I wasn't really listening to bass players like that. To be completely honest, I heard it, but I didn't hear it. If that makes any sense. So I wasn't really into music like that. To really, let me rephrase that. I wasn't really into bass like that to be spending hours and hours on the bass. So once I got more structured, though, I started spending at least 2 to 3 hours a day trying to catch up where I had missed all this other information that I should have known years before. So yeah, sorry again. I know there's been a 10-minute answer for a 30-second question, but I had to give you context because I don't want people to get mad. Man, you don't even practice. No, I practice, but the way I learn is different from how most people learn. It's different from how most technical people learn. It's actually normal if you grew up in the South. If you grew up like I grew up, that's how everybody learned. Music was a hobby. It wasn't a job for most people. So we just kind of learn when we learn. We learn songs when we and how we learn songs. So the method of how you go about doing it, I would say that practice is definitely crucial. But I used to say, I wish I had learned this. I wish I had. I'm not upset about the way that I had to learn music though. Looking back on it and looking back on my journey, I had to play catch up and do a lot of work that I feel like would have been better for me had I learned at the beginning. But the way I learned music, I was able to maintain an appreciation and a love and a passion for music just simply by ignorance in a lot of areas. I wasn't confined by all the rules and having to know this and having to know that. Sometimes it was um, infuriating in terms of like it made you feel, it's probably the wrong word, but it made me feel some type of way when I got around other people who were well versed in music and who could speak the language really good and really well. It would make me feel intimidated around some of those people at times. But when it came to me knowing how to do what I knew how to do, I was sweet in terms of knowing what I knew. Just me personally. So I say all of that. Maybe you're a person who's watching me and you came from an environment like I came from. And when you hear people talking all this theory and all this stuff, it makes you like say, man, I'm not gonna ever figure that stuff out. I didn't grow up like that. I don't have time to put it. Don't count yourself out. If you grew up in that type of environment, you just never know. You just still gotta put in the work. But don't speak down on the way that you had to learn music or the way that you're having to learn music because you don't have access to people. YouTube has made the world a lot smaller where we can learn all of these different things and where we can get tools and resources from people like myself and so many others. But back in the day, we didn't have that, so we had to learn how we had to learn. Now, that's your history, or that's what happened then. Going back to the point of what we're talking about now, the setting goals. What do you do now with the current information that you have? Now that you know, okay, I did all this because the change started for me and my bass playing really took off when I started doing something about what I didn't know. And I started trying to figure out and I started trying to ask questions because something rose up in me like, man, I want to be better than this. I wasn't okay with the little bit of information I had up to that point. I was decent. I could play, but I wanted to be better than that. And it has to happen for you and yourself. And something has to go off in your mind that says, I want to be better than this. I have to be better than this. That determination, that will has to happen for you. And you have to move on it, and you have to make real goals in order to move forward. So yeah, sorry, I'm trying to answer to the best of my ability. Okay. Hey Jermaine, what effects do you use? Scarabi, I think I said this on last week, but I use like a Corona chorus. I use a reverb. I use delay, and I use envelope filter, pretty much for the most part. I don't use a lot more than that. Every now and again, some compression when I'm recording, but for the most part, that's pretty much it. I don't use a lot of effects at all. I mean, I got four. Well, that's a lot for a bass player, but I don't get crazy with it. Every now and again, I'll pull out some distortion, but I've never used that on a recording. It's just only for fun. All right. When you first started to play bass, how many hours did? Okay, I answered that already. Could we get a bass lesson version of this track? A bassless version of this track. You like the last. You're not the last, but you're not the only one to ask that question. I always believe if you can't see it, you can believe it. Yeah, Vic. If you can see it, you mean if? Oh, you say if you can't see it, you can't believe it. Okay, I see what you're saying. Faith. All right. One day, could you just go over what equipment that is needed to set up a personal studio? I mean, I could go over that now. That's not a long drawn out question. You need to have a personal studio. It's made so easy now, man. Y'all have it so easy in terms of having personal studio. You need a computer, number one. I use Mac. Some people use PC. It matters your preference, but you definitely need a computer. I like to work with Logic Pro. That's the DAW that I use, the recording software that I use. And to use Logic, you definitely need a Mac computer. So I use Logic, so you definitely, everybody should have a computer by this point. You should have one. So yeah, you want to make sure, as far as the computer, you want to make sure that that computer is fast enough in terms of the RAM and all of that technical stuff. Look it up. I don't want to get into all those specifics, but make sure that your computer is fast enough and it can actually handle recording. Because it's not enough to just have a computer. It has to be fast enough to process the processing speed, the RAM, and all that kind of stuff. Make sure it's fast enough to handle recording music. After you get in a computer, you need, hopefully you already have a musical instrument, you need a musical interface, some type of recording interface. They can be as small as like a little 2-channel recorder. Some of them 1 channel now. You can get little small interfaces like iRig and stuff like that you can use to record. Like everybody's creating stuff now, but PreSonus makes a little small, and they're not the only one. This first thing come to mind. PreSonus makes a little small interface. I use PreSonus stuff, and that's why I'm mentioning it. But they make like a little 2-channel. One of my students, he uses one. I can't think of the name of it, but they have like a little really affordable 2-channel interface, like maybe 100, 150 bucks, something like that you can use to record in. And if you're only recording bass, that's all you need, like bass and microphone, because it has XLR and 1/4-inch inputs. Or some of them, most of the time now they have the like the plug that does both. You can plug in your guitar cable, like you can plug in a mic cable. So you can get that interface. You can get some headphones to get started if you don't want to get studio monitors right away. You can get some little reference monitors. I just found these little, I mix records as well. So I'm in the process of replacing my monitors that I currently have. And I just got some more reference monitors, some little PreSonus. And I'm not trying to talk about all this PreSonus stuff. I just found it. So I got these little reference monitors by PreSonus. Little 3.5, somebody says DJ Box, a little 3.5 reference monitors that you can get just to be able to hear. You don't have to have massive monitors. You can get the 3.5, you can get the 5-inch speakers and the monitors about that tall. You can get the 8-inch like I have. You can kind of see how big they are. You know, that's pretty nice size monitors. These are 8-inch speakers. And so, yeah, if you want to get a DI, that's cool. I see somebody dropping DI in the comments. That, to me, that's getting a little bit more specific when you're trying to go for a specific sound. You don't have to have a DI to record right off. If you're recording in your home studio, it's not necessary. It helps in some instances with sound, but it's not something that you have to have. Like, you can get away with the bare minimum, like having a computer, having a interface, having some monitors and some headphones, something that you can hear yourself back when you're recording. Some of you guys live in an apartment, you need to probably have headphones or turn your speakers way down because you don't want to get any violations or anything like that. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. A computer, an interface, and some good cables. Make sure you have good cables. You don't want to go with, your Walmart or Radio Shack cables. And I'm not trying to knock Radio Shack, but the old school cables, you plug them up and they hissing and humming and all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you have good cables. Have a good balanced ground when you're recording. When I'm talking about plugging into the wall, when you plug your interface and your computer into the wall, so you don't have any humming and buzzing coming through your recordings, because that can affect everything as well. So just some little things you want to be aware of. Then get on YouTube and start watching all these tutorials on how to use your recording software so that you can actually do a good job when you're recording. All right. So hello, Jermaine. Joel from Nigeria. Good morning to you. Diaz says, sir, I really struggle improvising bass lines. Do I need to master the ear training to do that? It's a long, I'm not gonna say it's a long process. It's several ways you can go about with bettering your improvisation. You can go the technical route where you can kind of learn the theory behind it, or you can go with what I was talking about earlier, the route of where you're pulling songs apart through transcribing and learning these songs. That long spiel I gave about transcribing earlier, you can kind of do that to better your improvisation. And another thing, learning chords, understanding chords. If you don't play the piano, trying to listen and get an understanding, maybe learning piano to have a better understanding of chords and chord foundations, that kind of thing. I did a lesson talking about chords a few months ago at this point, where I talked about, I did a series, and the first lesson when we were talking about breaking down chords and understanding chords, going through the major chords. I didn't go through all chords, but like the major chords. But having a basic understanding of chords will help you a little bit more with improvisation, because it's hard to improvise when you don't know where it's going and you don't know the chord. And you just only know that, okay, I'm in I'm in A flat minor. I mean, you're gonna be, if you don't know anything outside of the scale, I mean, you're gonna have some ideas, but you're gonna be limited if that's all you know. You're not gonna know the different ins and outs and different things you can play, because hearing the chords helps you to understand the chord tones that you can choose when you're improvising. Even when you're singing the melody, understanding harmony, that's a better way to say it. I'm saying chords, but I mean harmony. Learning harmony helps you to better improvise. So that, long story short, understanding harmony a lot better is going to help you. All right? So somebody says, no, Jermaine, we need it. I'm lost. You talking about the backing track again. Thanks for all your help. Stay blessed. No problem, Anthony. My pleasure. So hopefully I've answered most of these questions. I tried to run through these questions and answer most of them. Hopefully you guys actually have a plan that you're going into the year. Remember to, even if you're watching this video on the replay, be sure to leave in the comments what your goals are for this year. And we talked about the plans and how to bring those things to fruition by reverse engineering and setting an actual plan. This is what I plan to do in order to see these things happen. If you jumped in late, you got to go back and watch it, because I don't want to go back through all the stuff that I said earlier. We'll be here all day. But anyway, I just want to share some thoughts with you guys and put that on your mind, thinking about as you move towards the end of this year, how do you want to finish this year? And if you're going to finish strong, type in the comments section, I'm going to finish strong, or just finish strong. Jonathan Nelson's on finish strong, strong finish. You know what I'm saying? We're going to finish this year off strong. We're not going to, and this is another thing, side note, sidebar, I want to put. Stop, if you're one that's doing this, stop talking bad about the year. Stop. Stop. Stop saying, man, 2020 is trash. You don't have to. I see so many celebrities. I'm not going to call names, but I see so many. Thank you for that. I see so many celebrities that have been just bashing this year. Man, 2020 is just the worst, man. 2020 is trash. Really? It's been a tough year, none the least, but the whole year is not garbage. Like, throw the whole 2020 away. All right? You have what you say. That's why I'm saying stop doing it. If you're putting your whole year down, what if this was the year that your whole entire life changed for the better, but you've been repeating everybody all year saying, man, this year trash, this year. It's like, okay, you're going to produce what you say. So you're going to produce the results that you're talking about. So in your mind, if you keep declaring that this year is a bad year, well, it's going to be a terrible year for you, and it's going to keep getting worse because you attract to you what you talk about, what you think about. As a man thinking, like that, what you talk about, you're going to attract that to you. Man, thank you for the offerings as well. I really appreciate that. I said offering. If you guys want to do something, I welcome you to do it. I appreciate all of that. But you attract to you. You attract to you what you think about. I learned a lot in 2020. It's perspective. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all perspective. Finish strong, stay motivated. I love it. Finish strong. Everybody's dropping the finish strong in the comments. We're going to finish this year strong. We're not going to keep talking about how bad things are. Like, that doesn't help it. Talking about it doesn't help it get any better. So what do? We can't control the virus. We can't control that the politics, what's going on in our personal our country. We can't control that, but we can control how we respond to it. We can control what we do, who we help, who we inspire. Are you using your platforms? Are you using your channels to inspire positivity, inspire your family, inspire your network around you, your people that's in your circle? How are you inspiring them? Run around talking about how bad 2020 is every time everybody gets together is not inspiring anybody. It's not. So how will you change that? How will you make your 2020 better? Again, it's all about perspective. I've heard a number of people in my circle say, man, 2020 has been a great year for me. With the exception of death and stuff like that happening around us, we don't look over that stuff. We're aware of all that stuff. But super chat, that's what it is. Thank you, Zawala. Super chat is what it is. If you wanna drop a little something down in the offering bucket, super chat is how you do it. Yeah. So yeah, if you I lost my train of thought that quick. But that's you get what you get when you talk about 2020 and the stuff that you're saying. You get what you get out of the year simply by the stuff that you're saying. It can be the greatest year. That's what I was talking about. Friends in my circle talking about 2020 has been a great year for them. It's like because it's their perspective. You attracting to you. You putting the work in. 2020 has been a great year for me. It's been filled with a lot of setbacks. It's been filled with a lot of heartache. It's been filled with depression, disappointment. Y'all didn't know it, but I went through some stuff in 2020, man. It's the 2020 wrapped your boy across the head. But my perspective on it remains positive. I'm not going to let what happened to me define me. I'm going to define what happened to me. It's not going to define me. I know who I am, and just because I go through these things, just because I go through these setbacks, that's not going to define who I am. You know what I'm saying? That thing is not going to define who I am. Oh, before I forget, I want to make mention of this. I have to do this. Oh, I have to kick myself because I don't do it, because I have people that still don't know. So if you're new to me, talking about 2020, talking about finishing strong, bam, there you go. This happened in 2020. 10 ways to success, the working musician. If you're looking for some ways to start, implementing some ideas that you have as a musician, or if you're looking for some ideas, some things that you can do. Somebody said music for Jesus, setbacks or setups for comebacks. Come on here, absolutely. So if you're looking for some different things to maybe start implementing ways of being resourceful, without talking about this whole book again, I wrote this book pretty much sharing my life story, not my whole life story, sharing my music career journey and giving some things that I've done throughout the years, that ways that I was resourceful and I was able to grow and still be working as a musician. I put a lot of these things in the book. Some of the people that was watching on here has the book already. I'm pretty sure you probably read through it 3 or 4 times. It's a very short book, but I think the information in there is very helpful. And for anybody who is looking for ways to monetize some of the things that you are doing, or maybe some things that you've looked over that you didn't think, oh, I maybe could do that. It's definitely practical things you can use in here. And it's all about how they apply to you in your personal life. But I encourage you, you can grab this off Amazon, 10 Ways to Success, The Working Musician by yours truly, Jermaine Morgan. You can grab it off Amazon. You can grab it off my website, jermaine.morgan.net. Simply go to the shop page, grab that today. I wanted to make sure that I make mention of that because I know a lot of you still don't have this book. Some of you, this is your first time hearing about it. And I'm sorry that this is your first time hearing about it. Somebody said, you still use that CDL? So Floyd read the book. So yeah, I definitely still have my CDL. And I do have plans on using it again. So I'm good. I'm up to date. My medical stuff is still good to go. Yeah, by all means. I plan to own my own stuff or my own trucks and stuff like that. So by all means, I'm not gonna use my CDL. So yeah, I love it. Trucks is a passion, man. If you read the book, you'll know that I grew up around that stuff. So yeah, by all means, I plan to still use my CDL. I'm not currently using it, but I will. So yeah, all right, guys. Thank you for rocking with me today. And just for you guys, again, that's new to me, head over to jermainemorgan.net. You can find out everything about me for the most part, what it is I do, what it is I offer. If some of you guys are musical artists and you're looking for songs to be written, produced, mixed, all of that stuff, I offer those services as well. I offer a whole bunch of stuff. So go to jermainemorgan.net, find everything about me. And yeah, let me know you were there. And also, be sure to leave in the comment, finish strong. If you want to put your goals down, somebody says literally just ordered another one for a friend on Amazon. Get it. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. All right, gonna get a copy. Please do that. Vic says I use Personas and Audio Box. I too, very affordable. Sweet. So yeah, and for the people that want to know about the recording, go ahead and get started recording. And that's another means. I talk about it in the book in terms of recording. That's another means of income. I literally just finished up, just being transparent with you guys. Being able to work during this pandemic and people know the work that you do, know the quality that you put out is crucial in terms of your progression, in terms of income as a musician. I just finished a guitar session for somebody yesterday, recording guitar on a record. I recorded one song week before last. I recorded like 4 or 5 songs. Of course, this was guitar too. And each week, I'm recording something for somebody. So, and I produce records for people as well. I just finished mixing somebody's record just the other day. So all of these skills, being able to learn these skills and hone these skills, they are all streams of incomes that you can be using. It doesn't have to be limited to your bass playing. Being able to have many skills and develop those skills to be able to use them effectively and efficiently can definitely create some revenue for you that you guys might be mixing out on. So if you're sleeping on it recording stuff, you might want to learn it. You might want to learn it because if you don't write music, who knows? You might have a great ear for being a mix engineer or a mastering engineer. It's just a skill you have to learn, just like any other skill. And so if it's some side money that you can make by simply practicing and developing those skills, by all means do that. Proud of you. Thanks for continued inspiration. Thank you. Music for Jesus. I'm going to have to learn your real name because I know that ain't it. But thank you for that. I really appreciate the support. Everybody who's purchased everything. Shameless plug. Look right down below the screen. You can see this merch that I have available. If you want some of this stuff, these hoodies is getting cold outside, and you want to cover up. So I have these in all different colors. I don't only wear black. Tanya, thank you so much. I don't only wear black, but this is what I got. So it is what it is. So yeah, you can find them in all different colors. I have the Say It With Your Strings stuff as well. So be sure to go to my store. The Say It With Your Strings hoodies, the different logo designs, as well as the Jermaine Morgan TV stuff. It's all there. You can find it all. So grab you some merch today, do all that stuff. Anyway, I said I was going to leave. I'm on here. Woo! We've been on it way too long. All right, guys. I'm out. Much love to y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.